All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all being here. We're going to get started at tonight's exciting event, because it always is here at the Peoria Unified School District Governing Board meetings. So to get the meeting started, we're going to go ahead and have our moment of silence, about 30 seconds for us to kind of collect our thoughts and get into the mode of learning and helping and growing here. And then we're going to have our Pledge of Allegiance by Brian from Vistancia, representing this amazing clan here. So we're excited to hear from you in a little while. So if you join me in a moment of silence, and we'll move right into the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ladies and gentlemen, please follow me in a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. Thank you again all for being here. We know you have many choices for your entertainment dollar, and we appreciate you being here tonight to spend it with us. All right, on to our next item. Our executive session was not held, so we'll go move past that. And our favorite part of the night, Mrs. Airy always gets introduced, is our staff recognitions. Welcome aboard, Mrs. Airy.
Good evening, President Bullock, members of the board, Dr. Santarelli. This year, the United States Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, recognized 335 schools from across the nation for their overall academic excellence or their progress in closing achievement gaps among student groups, earning a very prestigious title as a National Blue Ribbon School. National Blue Ribbon schools demonstrate that through hard work and dedication, all students can achieve to high levels. This evening, I am very proud to share with all of you that Vistancia Elementary School is a National Blue Ribbon School. Now, before I have this wonderful clan, as you said, President Bullock, stand to be recognized, I thought rather than telling you what it is that makes Vistancia so great, we should let the staff and students from the school tell us. So please direct your attention to the screens.
Hi, I'm Arne Duncan, Secretary of Education, and today we are designating your school and 331 other schools across the country as National Blue Ribbon Schools. Schools that are leading their students to the highest levels of achievement or making outstanding progress in closing achievement gaps. This honor recognizes your students' accomplishments and the amazing hard work and dedication that went into their success.
A great school. It starts from when you drive up to the front of the school and it's beautiful opening, inviting atmosphere.
What I like about Vistancia is that the teachers are really nice. There are many kids that are my friends and there aren't any bullies.
What I really like about Vistancia and what I think makes it special is that it has a lot of different programs that you can participate in.
Vistancia is a fantastic school because they provide things like heat and Liberty Math.
One day I passed by here and one teacher was, reading a book with the kids here under the shade. So I start to, I decide, when I have a time, to do something for them,
Well, it is a very, very beautiful place for Vistancia students and teachers to come and do work.
Vistancia is an amazing school because all the teachers and staff are there every single day to help you learn and help you become the best you can be.
The teachers are amazing, just so much fun things to do at the school.
The heat program is just phenomenal.
And the staff is always super awesome to you and really nice.
I love Vistancia for their opportunities and for being a non-bullying school.
Please join me in recognizing a band teacher like no other, a role model and inspiration for many of you here this evening, your Raymond S. Kellis Leadership in Teaching Award recipient winner, Mrs. Julie Carlson.
And the people have received this award, and I'm truly blessed
I'm truly blessed with the community that I live in. I live in Vistancia, and there's not one day I regret living and working within my community. And I thank all of you from Vistancia for being my sole supporters as well. Thank you.
I love Vistancia because we have amazing teachers, and teachers help you with anything you need. You're always accepted no matter what you do.
I like how the teachers are so polite and they're ready to teach.
I like the people that I'm around every day and the environment that I'm in.
What I love about this school are the teachers and the students. They just have this work ethic. They just work hard, get to their goals, and just
About learning.
Once you kind of make your home someplace, you discover the people.
work hard every day.
We have great students. They're happy to be here, fun and excited.
There are exactly the kind of people you want to become like. I mean, especially as a new teacher, you look at the people that are already there working, you say, yes, this is what I want for my future.
I am so blessed and so proud to be able to work for Vistancia Elementary.
I think that Vistancia is great because it makes everyone feel like part of the family.
I think the most amazing thing about this school is the way the community, staff, and students all rally around each other and support each other. It's like a big extended family.
Vistancia is more than just an elementary school. It's a community. It's an extension of our family, and we are blessed to be part of it.
Vistancia rocks.
A big thank you to David Colley for putting that video together, which I think captures the essence of what is Vistancia and what makes it so great. Here to introduce to you some of the stars from the Vistancia team, I'm very proud to introduce and offer them for any questions or comments from the board, the principal for Vistancia Elementary School, Jennifer Kazmar, and the assistant principal, Dustin Hammond. Let's give them a round of applause.
Good evening, President Bullock, members of the board, Dr. Santarelli. We appreciate you having us here tonight for this honor. And first, we would like to introduce some of our staff members that we have with us today. So when I recognize them, can you guys please stand up? First, we have Nicole Gonzalez, third grade teacher. Sue Yee, third grade teacher. Rachel McDonald, first grade teacher. Julie Carlson, band teacher. And Brian Mabey, fifth grade teacher. Thank you, guys. All right.
Thank you very much. Is that my feedback I'm hearing, or is that real feedback? Okay, never mind. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to that event when you actually had the Blue Ribbon event. Can I just say the energy of the auditorium that day, when all your students were there and all your teachers, you could have powered a small city. There was that much excitement, that much energy, and it's a Blue Ribbon. It's amazing achievement. So congratulations for that. But the fact that all the students and teachers and staff were buying into it, were excited about it, and I know because of your leadership for both of you, they all knew that they were a part of it. It wasn't the principal, it wasn't a teacher that did it, it was the entire school that created this. And you, both of you, when you spoke, you spread that wealth around, if you will, to show that you are truly a community. But that just made my day. Can I just say that? To see all that energy, excitement, you're all wearing your shirts. You all, some days you have good days and some are bad days, I get that. But that day, your school was on, and there was no doubt in my mind that they selected the right school for that. That was very exciting. So thank you for letting me be a part of that. And, we have our Raymond S. Kellis winner, who is way too humble.
We have two Raymond S. Kellis
sorry, two.
winners.
That's right, two. I'm sorry. Two Raymond S. Kellis winners, are way too humble. And can I just say that the steel drums, your, what do they call it, steel pans? No, iron pans. I would pay to see them. They are that good. And so kudos for doing that, and the teachers as well. But what an amazing school. So thank you for making us look good. And thank you for continuing to try. And that community is so tight, and they love you, and you know that. And thank you for continuing to give them the reason to love you and feel that they can be a part of it by just walking in and volunteering help. I know I used to live up there and have a lot of friends that still do. And they have told me they feel comfortable if they have extra time or if they have questions, that they can walk in and either have something to do to help out, or you'll sit down with them and talk to them and answer questions and concerns and take their suggestions. So it is well noted, and I hear it from friends that live up there, so thank you so much for doing that for all of us and for the kids. Ms. Stone, any questions, comments?
Yes, I would just like to say, I worked just a little bit with children, not a whole lot, but it takes a lot of dedication. It takes an entire lifestyle to do the things that you have done. And I appreciate your hard effort and work, and everybody obviously in your community does. And now everybody knows, right? So congratulations, and thank you very much for your hard work.
Thank you. Mr. John again.
Yeah, first of all, great leadership and setting a goal, reaching it, achieving it. This is a huge honor, and just you should all just keep patting yourself on the back for a very long period of time. But I'd like to hear a little bit about, how did you set your mind? What did you do to get the progression, move the school forward in such a way that would qualify and eventually win a blue ribbon honor?
President Bullock, members of the board, that's definitely a good question, and it started a few years ago with our A+ application process, and we applied through the Arizona Educational Foundation for that award, and that was a complete school-wide effort. We had all of our teachers come together and really collaborate on that and really brainstorm all of the things that make our school an A+, from the academics to the extracurricular to the community support, and we submitted that application and received the A+ award. And after that, we definitely thought, what's the next step and what can we do to continue that excellence and achievement? And knowing that our goal is to be not only one of the best schools in this state, but also in the United States, that we wanted to see if we could be recognized for that National Blue Ribbon Award as well. So we were actually nominated by the Arizona Department of Education for that, and again, did an application process and brought the staff together for that, and were awarded that. So
that's fantastic. It just goes again to the great vision, leadership, execution of caring about the kids and bringing it all together. And I just a huge thank you and a huge congratulations to all of you on that. I do have another question for Dr. Santarelli. Do we is this our again, new to the board? Is this our first, or how many?
Mr. Bullock, Mr. Young, no, it's not our first. It's the one that we've. It's been several years since we've had a school recognized, and so quite an accomplishment. And but I think this was actually our second national blue ribbon with several A+, but our second national blue ribbon school.
Excellent. Well done.
Thank you.
Quick, let me give you a compliment too, is that how quickly you have integrated. You were assistant principal, I realize that, but how quickly you've integrated and energized and got going, because Mr. Gillett's shoes were not easy to fill. I mean, he was, a Goliath in that community with all he did, and staff, obviously, it takes the teachers and everybody, but as far as from a leadership position, so a compliment to you that, there wasn't a missed beat. Again, I'm sure there were some very stressful days, and they are coming as well. Yeah, it's nothing. I work a couple hours a day, and but seriously, it is noted and noticed. You stepped right in and took off from, again, very big shoes to fill, and we're eternally grateful to Mr. Gillett. But you, without skipping a beat, that's noticed. So thank you, and the continued staff also. It's not just one person. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Ms. Bullock, if I could certainly offer my heartfelt congratulations once again. I can tell you it was a true honor to be out there for the recognition. And as I mentioned then, and I'll reiterate it tonight, in 10 years, it's amazing what you've been able to accomplish in 10 years. And I would venture to say that if you were to take a look at all of the National Blue Ribbon schools, there are very, very few that have done it as quickly as you have. And it's a real testament to the people that do the work each and every day, and you've had individual accolades, and certainly those are much deserved, and school accolades. You're a model for all of us, so thank you for inspiring us each and every day and for what you do for the students in your school community.
Thank you, Dr. Santarelli. And just last question, how much does it cost to get the Iron Pans to play for us, like some intro music, or like in between? Sometimes we have lulls in between things that they can, like, on hold music. How much does it cost to get them out here? Okay. I have that much money. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
President Bullock, if we could just take a quick
Pictures, of
photo
course.
before
Yes.
they leave.
Let us get out of your way and have some nice pictures. Thank you.
Ms. Bullock, if I could ask a quick question, when is the official recognition in Washington, D.C., Ms. Kazmar?
It is
November 9th and 10th. You will represent us well. Have fun.
Look forward to the video. Thank you. Mrs. Airy, more good news? Dr. Santarelli, we turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Bullock. I have a couple. Recently, the Arizona School Board Association recognized a couple of heroes in public education, one of their new campaigns this year, and we actually had two. A teacher out at Sunrise Mountain High School, recognized for her work with her online programming and accounting, Mrs. Jody Pennock, and you're certainly familiar with her. She's been recognized a number of times from Liberty High School, and also a name that's no stranger to this group, Brooke Kistner, was recognized for her advocacy efforts for students across the state of Arizona. So kudos, and they're considered heroes in public education by the Arizona School Board Association.
Now, will they have any type of award ceremony or that you're aware of, Dr. Santarelli?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, let's move on to the next item on the agenda. Board recognitions, again, is a chance for us board members, anything that's happened in the past couple weeks or since the last meeting to discuss or bring up some highlights. Mr. John, we'll start with you this time.
I have none. I was out of town.
Okay, welcome back. Ms. Stone? Okay, I do. I went on a school tour. I went to the Sunrise Cluster with Ms. Allie Bridgewater. She's not here tonight, unfortunately, because I was going to spill all the things that we talked about when she was younger to embarrass her, but she's not here, so I'll have to do it another time. All in good fun, of course. But I was able to, it was one of those, you have gone on school tours now. I know you visited schools as well, Ms. Doan, but it's a wonderful, refreshing, and privilege as a board member to be able to go out to schools and to have a really good tour. Unfortunately, you don't get to see everything, but I was able to go visit Sunrise Mountain as the high school, Coyote Hills, Peoria Traditional School, then off to Park Ridge. We hit Apache, Frontier as well. And what's interesting is that I always ask 4 questions of every school that I go visit. And again, obviously a lot of other questions spawn from that. But I always ask, what is one program you're really proud of? One program that needs work, because obviously no organization is perfect, that you're working on. And then what is your honest assessment of curriculum in college and career readiness, and how's that working out with resources and budget? And then I always ask, what can the board do for you to try and even help 1-2% to move your school forward? And 2 things interesting resonate. This is as I'm talking to my fellow board members, that I want to plant some seeds for maybe some future ideas. Every single school, and I don't seed the questions by saying, what do you think of this? I just ask the open-ended questions, see what they say. In every school, their big concern was math. Math being able, again, everything from resources, it's not that there's any secret, like I just exposed something, but every school to a T said that's the area that they want to work on the most. And everything from resources, of course, training, direction, again, part of its budget as well, honing that down. They're saying that they all recognize that that's something that we need to work on, and they're asking the board for support in any which way possible to support the resource, to support the teachers. What was also very interesting is the second thing that they all said unanimously without me prompting was some more time to work with each other, more time for teachers to just collaborate, more time to be, and I'm paraphrasing, but just to be allowed to work with their cohorts, whether it's if it's only a single teacher at a certain school to be able to go to other schools, or if there's several English teachers, for example, at a specific school, to actually be given true, unadulterated, left alone time to work together, come up with lessons plans, because it makes sense, even in the business world, if I walk into another department, I go, that's interesting, I didn't realize, that's a great idea. I never thought about that way to motivate employees, to teach employees, what have you. And teachers are saying the same thing. They want to be able to go work with each other in their different rooms, the cohort classes, to say, hey, that's a great technique. I never thought, let me try that back in my classroom. But they just really were saying, please, give us some extra time. So out of that, the two things I'll bring back later, I mean, when other board members are here, but two things I want to plant the seed is possibly, and I know this has been talked about in years past, so it's nothing new, but being able to do delayed start, maybe 2 days a month. Other districts do that. It's nothing new. They come in at 9 o'clock, so from 7 to 9, principals and their teachers can work together without any interruption at all. And then also on the math side, that was brought up by a couple different teachers that I talked to, was to consider, and we've talked about this before, but to revisit the hybrid block schedule, because again, some students are not ready need more time in first year math. So possibly doing a 45-minute period for algebra all year long to give them that time, and then the rest of the day are, the block schedule. So we've talked about it before, but I would like to, plant that seed again, because several teachers brought that up, that they would like that option for students, and they know within the first month whether a student is going to be able to handle the compressed block time, or they need to stretch it out over a whole year to learn algebra, the building blocks of everything. So again, we had a study session on that several months ago, or many more than months ago. But I'd like to plant that seed again as something to consider, because, anyway, talking to teachers, they know a lot more than I do, and administration does too. But that was the two things that resonated: more time and help with math, and a lot of it's budget, but some of it's just time. So again, nothing new, but I was excited and grateful to hear that they knew exactly what they needed to continue on. But I'll tell you, at the end of the day, talk about a breath of fresh air. I mean, we all get so busy in our day. But to be able to take the tour and see the kids and be led around by the kids and see the programs that they're doing, and just the enthusiasm, despite budget issues and despite, again, there's good days and bad days, but it was very exciting. It felt really good to be part of Peoria. I mean, I've been a parent for 15 years in the district, but it felt really good to be a board member, to see that kind of structure, enthusiasm, that kind of advanced thinking, and just we want to create and, help us create. And I walked away going, yes, I'll do what I can to do that. So kudos to administration, to teachers, to resource, and everybody, because it is a great district. Not perfect, but it is a really good district. And I left so happy to have run for election 3 years ago to be on the board. And so thank you for the support that you all give. It is a great district. And I was recharged heavily this past week. So thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is request to address the governing board regarding matters not included on the agenda. Ms. McCarty, any green slips tonight? All right, thank you so much. We'll move on to the next item. Number 8 is the address agenda and consider adoption or recommended changes. It's a chance for the board to rearrange the agenda for any specific purpose or expediency if we have a certain group that wants to hear something. Board members, any rearrangement in the agenda tonight?
No.
Okay. We'll move as is. Oh, darn, I forgot. Sorry. And I also was remiss, I apologize. Sometimes I get so excited, especially with Vistancia here. We're a little light tonight. As you can see, I'd like to extend our regrets that we do not have Mrs. Connect, who is out as president-elect of the ASBA. She's on her tour, county board meetings and whatnot, so we excuse her. And Ms. Pangarelli with a family issue, and our hearts and prayers go out to them and their family as they move forward. So we look forward to seeing them back for our next board meeting. Next item on the agenda, number 9, the K-12 Literacy Program Update. And Ms. Connie Whitty, welcome aboard.
Good evening, President Bullock, members of the board, Dr. Santarelli. I'm here tonight to provide you with an update and some information regarding our literacy program across our district. As you can see with this graphic, there are quite a few components that go into any program we have within our district. Specifically tonight, I will address things related to literacy. But as you can see, when we look at components that develop into a successful focus of mastery teaching and learning, where students have increased achievement and also confidence in themselves and their learning, it takes quite a bit to get everything done each and every day. When we look at the K-3 literacy core instruction, there are some essential components that make up what we do in our instructional block of time. The Reading Foundation standards allow us to focus on those prerequisite developmental building blocks for becoming readers, writers, and also to communicate through speaking, putting things together, formal speeches, informal speeches, all of those things that are critically essential. When we look at the English language arts standards, they break up into some different areas. When we're talking about comprehension, we're looking at comprehension of texts that range from poetry, short stories, to text that would be considered nonfiction or related to core content areas, science, social studies, different approach to literacy. Text and fluency, of course, that's being able to look at what you're reading, read it smoothly, with accuracy, and then, of course, the other components there as well. Vocabulary is a very critical component, both with foundational skills and then later as it's related to core concepts, critical thinking, content areas where vocabulary definitely is studied and there's a focus, because we know students understanding and being able to read smoothly has a lot to do with if they know what it is they're reading and understand it. When we look at grades 4 through 12, we move away from those foundational skills because it is assumed at this point students who are on grade level will no longer need those prerequisite skills. Of course, we have students who at 4th grade are still needing some assistance and help, but we shift heavily to comprehension. And we spend a lot of time in our core program focusing on comprehension. And again, we shift from, we still have the great poetry and literature and all of that that we have in our classrooms that are very rich, interesting, and exciting for students, but we really move to a lot more focus with the nonfiction as we move up the grades. When we think about our programs and a multi-tiered system of support, meaning we have children who access our curriculum at all different levels of success. We start out, when you hear the term used, Tier 1 or core program, what that means is through direct instruction, small group, whole group, a variety of strategies, differentiation, that with that initial instruction, approximately 85% of our students will be successful in reaching grade level standards with the core program. And every student in our district has access to the core program, the grade level standards, the materials, the resources associated with that. Then we think about those students who need some additional support, help. I'm not speaking directly of special ed, but that could be part of services that our students receive through our special education programs. But when we look at Tier 2, what we're talking about is those students who have some gaps. Sometimes people use the comparing it to like Swiss cheese sometimes, you know, it's a full piece of cheese, but there's some holes kind of there that we have to take a look at for that student. And those students, approximately 10% of our population, they need something more than just what everyone else is getting through the fluency practice we provide to students, through comprehension strategies. They need something more. And it could be more time. It could be smaller group. It could be that they need some kind of specific program that will focus on the deficit area. Then when we get to students who might need even more, a Tier 3 support program, that's when we really are talking now about intervention and something very precise for this student. And again, I'm not specifically saying special education services, however, that could be part of the program of services we provide to our students. In just a moment or two, I'm going to focus in on a few of our more intensive intervention programs for our students. And again, that's approximately 5% or less of our student population. When we think of Tier 1, What would it look like in the classroom? What does it look like for a teacher? What does it look like for a student? So when we think about English language arts, we have our curriculum frameworks, and those are the documents that have been created through the committee work you've heard much about. And we take the state standards, they're given to us in no particular order, not anything other than a coding or a numbering associated with the standard. They are segmented into different components, comprehension, language, vocabulary, those types of things, and we put them together in cohesive frameworks that students and teachers will then, that will, I guess, comprise where the instruction comes from. So then when you look at that, we say we have to teach all these standards. We have a certain amount of time in which we have to teach the standards, and we put together a pacing calendar. We include holidays, different things that might occur on a campus, and we give approximate days in which, as a district, all kindergarten teachers are in, framework 2, and they're working, and they have approximately 20 to 25 days associated with the particular standards in that framework. Assessment is part of the cycle, as you can see, and it's a part of the cycle before, during, and after, but we're not talking about large, big, comprehensive tests. We're talking about short cycle, checking to make sure that during instruction, the students are making progress, and if they're not, we're doing something about it during the time of instruction. We're not waiting for them to fail a test, put together a project that's totally off, where a teacher might say that's not what we were looking for, that there's throughout the instructional cycle. The goal is that with the first access to the literature, to the writing assignment, to whatever might be happening, that 80% or more of the students will be at grade level or above. And then if they're not, what do we do about it? When we think about Tier 1, for our K-4 for English Language Arts, we're looking at 150 minutes of the instructional day. And for 5th through 12th grade, at the elementary, 5th through 8th, it's 90 minutes every day. And at the high school, it's 90 minutes every day for a semester. But at the elementary, it's for the entire school year. When we think about Tier 2 and Tier 3, it's a very specific cycle. We have to start with, what is the plan? We determine a plan, and it might be a plan for 6 students, 3 students. There might be 4 different plans that a teacher might have in their classroom for literacy development for the students. And that might look like small group instruction, could be leveled reading groups, it could be leveled vocabulary or spelling groups. There's a variety of ways to look at it when we're talking about the young students. As we move up the grades, Tier 2 and Tier 3 might look like they leave the classroom, not during the instruction time for English Language Arts, but during another time period, and an interventionist or someone who is trained in a particular resource provides to them very specific directed instruction. And we have to assess their progress along the way. And typically, when you're talking about Tier 2 or Tier 3, it can be anywhere from 15 additional minutes of services up to 30 to 60 minutes, depending upon the student and their identified need.
Ms. Whitty?
Yes.
That extra time, is that 30, 60 minutes? I guess maybe I missed it, I'm sorry, per day, per week? How much is that again?
It just depends. Again, a plan is developed.
But there's no like...
There are recommended minutes of additional instruction. If you're using a particular program, it might, and I'm going to speak to a couple of those, it might mean every single day. It could be 2 or 3 times a week. In some cases, We have programs and services that are offered before or after school to these students because we don't have the extra time maybe during the instructional day to pull them out and give them some very specific services. So we have schools and programs that do operate at different times.
Okay, thank you.
When we look at an intervention program that provides more time, more service, or more support, Read 180 is one of our critical programs that we have at some of our elementary schools based on need and at each of our high schools. Now, in this case, for the high school, these students receive their Read 180 program for 90 minutes for a full year. So it's not a semester, it's for a full year. And each year, as we look at the results and we look at how the students are doing, we determine, do they need another year of this, or are they ready to go back to a traditional Tier 1 core reading program? Same at our elementary. It's in our 6th through 8th grade in the elementary schools that have this program. The statistics that I have for you are based on last year. We had 565 6th through 8th graders. And what they mean by 1.4 growth, that's one level. These are students who are 2 or more grade levels behind in their reading skills. And so through the program and services they receive, that's the average growth. 75% of our 565 students actually did better than a 1.4 levels growth in a year's time. And at the high school, we have less students in the program. And as students get older, as you know, early intervention is the best thing we can do, and that's why in our younger grades, we have our Move On When reading and other things that I'm going to address in just a moment. But for our older students, their progress, it's really a wonderful opportunity. We try to catch them before they go to high school with literacy because we know, especially at high school, the high demands of what they're reading is mostly nonfiction. They only have one English class. The rest of their classes are science, math, you know, a variety of things. And so at the high school, again, it's for a full year, and it's the 90 minutes because the progress is, you know, it takes a little bit more. A student who has struggled, who is we've not been able to capture. They might be new to the district, or they started struggling as an 8th grader, and so then we didn't pick them up until high school. And also our second language learners also have access to this program. It's very effective with second language learners as well.
Mrs. Whitty.
Yes.
And if I was writing a note when you stated this earlier, I apologize, but I see here 6th through 8th high school. Is there something like a Read 180 for prior to 5th grade or 5th grade or earlier?
Not this particular programs. This is from Scholastic, and they do have other programs, and we do have some of their other programs at some of our schools for the younger students. But this is a specific program that is for 6th through high school, 6th through 12th grade. It's really the program and materials is the effect size and the influence of what it contains in the program is most appropriate for this age of student.
And if you're going to get to it, I apologize, but what is available for the under 6th grade?
Let me get to that.
That's the next one. I'm a segue.
Okay. For Move On When reading, right now I can't really give you any statistics or give you any information because we're still under the embargo. But as soon as we have more information, I will absolutely make sure that I provide you with updates on that. At our younger grades, when we think about K-3, every school has a reading interventionist that is there on their campus either part-time or full-time. And that reading interventionist is has a certification from the state, that reading endorsement, that they have extra background coursework related to working with students who are having a deficit, who are not making progress commensurate with their peers. And so this particular reading interventionist works with the literacy team on the campus, with the teachers, the special education, any other particular interventionist, and they come up with plans and services. In some cases, the students just need more practice with certain skill sets, like with phonics. They might need more time with working on their sound-symbol relationship. And in some cases, there really isn't a program that does that. It's a work between a teacher and the students. We do have Study Island that we do use, again, online program that is available K through high school for reading, and it can be used as a practice with core standards, but also it does provide students with support below grade level that gives them practice, online practice. We have a variety of programs and services through our Title I. We have very specific programming that special ed also offers, cognitive reading strategies. There's quite a few things that we, either a particular program that has a set way of teaching a skill, it could be online, it could be a kit-based manipulative, or it just might be teacher to student practice with basic skills. So we have that in place for our K-4, because again, this year too, we had some students that moved into 4th grade that, based on this legislation and not having the test scores, that we have to follow into 4th grade and provide them some additional services. And then intermediate grades, from school to school, we have different programs and services.
Okay. And these are part of those programs you mentioned that were available before and after school?
Sometimes, yes. And sometimes they're available during the school day as well. We build in time during either, like with the middle school or junior high students, if there's a study hall period or a period of time where students might be at specials, that they can maybe get pulled and receive some additional support and help. Schools figure out their school plan. They figure out exactly which students need the support, and then they schedule that accordingly.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things that we noticed and that we were very aware of, and we appreciated your support as a board, is that we were lacking in the area of writing, our skills of our students, and also resources to our teachers. So through last year, piloting, reviewing, we were able to bring about Step Up to Writing, which is a comprehensive writing program. It is a K-12 writing program. And we had quite a bit of excitement last year when we brought it on for 6th through 8th grade. We also, at the start of this year, brought on 3rd through 5th grade. And we're getting ready in the spring for K-2. Teachers appreciate the amount of support, the amount of teacher-friendly resources that are available through the teacher kit that they received, and also an online resource binder that has lots and lots of things that will help them, lesson plans included, everything they need to teach very specific skills. It's not just the writing, such as the process of writing, but it's also when you're reading, what do you need to do in writing in order to make those text connections. It has vocabulary, handwriting, a variety of things offered through this program. And so far, we've had very good feedback and results with the use of the program, and we're excited to, at the end of this year, have a comprehensive K-8 writing program in place for all of our students. And that's also including, we did provide resources to our self-contained special ed classrooms and our resource special ed classrooms, because as they're working and supporting and scaffolding the instruction, they have the resources there for them as well. So it is across all classrooms, all students. Right now, 3rd through 8th grade, soon to be K-2. Also at all of our campuses, we have many, 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 and I would have to have slide after slide after slide, so I just kind of summed it up in this slide. We have quite a few literacy-focused events and activities across our district every week. Of course, you've probably participated in our Dr. Seuss Birthday Read Across America. We have book fairs. I was able to observe during parent-teacher conference over at Desert Valley the excitement of kids coming in to look at all the books, purchase the books. It's a really great support at reasonable prices for our families. Literacy nights, reading programs, the Book It program, other programs that kids get incentives to keep reading. And then our high schools have the Ironwood Reads Night or Centennial Reads Night, where they encourage students to select books of interest. They read them, and then they come together on an evening to discuss the book that they've read. And it's led sometimes by teachers, by students, by community members. It's a really fantastic event that our high schools host. With that, I stand for any questions you might have.
Thank you very much, Ms. Whitty. I'll look to my left. Ms. Stone, questions, comments?
Wow. So just, I just want to get your gut feeling for it. Is it going well?
Overall, with all the work we've put in, working with our teachers, I feel like we're making great progress. Our teachers are feeling successful. The new standards, the things that we're doing, I think the writing has been a great positive. They were very appreciative. We were able to purchase and give them the writing resources. So visiting classrooms, very positive.
Well, that's good. I mean, you really can't learn if you can't read.
That's correct.
And the writing, and it's essential to be able to communicate, so I'm very pleased to hear.
Thank you.
Mr. Jonigan?
You know, the first half of the presentation is all about the reading, and the part that caught my eye was the part about kids that were falling behind, two or more grade level reading behind, and it just kind of was sinking in with me how hard it must be for these kids that have gotten to this point, how hard it is for them to stay on track with math and science and the other courses, because if you can't read the instructions or if you're reading at a slower pace and you're going to test, how much more difficult it is for them to stay on track, and which puts the urgency for earlier detection, quicker identification, and some kind of a intervention, as you said, plan in place early so that we don't get to the 2 or more grade level behind. I think it was at 6th grade and beyond.
Right.
I guess that would just be my big aha up here is how we can identify, and I just really focused on the 6th and up.
Right.
But, and I know there's other programs like Move On and Study Island and so forth for under 6th grade, but, those programs and things to drive that intervention and prevent them from ever getting to the 2 grade level behind is I guess where I would like to see a huge focus.
And we do, and we will continue. And the cycle, I just went back to this particular slide. We're doing more and more each year to really help our campuses, our principals, our literacy teams, to equip them with the data they need, with the information and the support plans that they need, because you are correct. There's a lot of research behind by December when you're in 1st grade, if you're not at or close to grade level, without intervention, could never catch up. And so we do put a lot of effort into the early grades. And we have students too that it just takes them longer. They need more time. So that's why we don't leave off after 4th grade. We continue with services and support. And as they get older, you have to get more intensive and much more structured.
Is there, and maybe this is a kind of out of bounds on the question side, but is there a point where it gets to where you think about even holding some of the children back a grade or so that they can, get more close to the reading level that they're at and learn all the other subjects, science, math, so forth?
We bring together a child, they do a child study or take a look at a student who has struggled maybe more than they feel they need to let that child struggle, and they bring in a team, they evaluate. Sometimes it's recommended that the child be evaluated for maybe additional services beyond the general curriculum. And other times, they come up with opportunities for the students. Retention is something we hope to not do because there's other complications that go along with it. But for a very young child, sometimes that is the decision that is made. And with the Move On When Reading legislation, the state has told us that at third grade, a certain threshold, if they don't meet a certain cut score, there is the potential that they could be retained. But they give the districts opportunities to do intervention and reassess so the students can stay with their peers but still get the support they need.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2 quick questions. On slide 5, you don't need to go back to it because I'll give you the numbers. You had 85% basically at level, 10% additional intervention, 5% more, intensive intervention. With the progress in the writing program, the reading program, and obviously still in its infancy, at least our new material, how accurate is that, or how has that improved? Has that been stagnant, those 3 numbers? Has it dropped down to where maybe 5 to 10 years ago? Have we made progress, or is that just the way it is?
Well, those statistics are pretty much a national level kind of statistic. They forecast that that's about the general population. I will tell you, based on individual students or individual groups, if we looked at certain populations, you're going to see some movement up and down, and there could be sometimes be a trend, there could be a reason for it, a variety of things, but overall, as a district, we profile pretty much to that breakdown.
Okay. And the other thing, and this won't come as any surprise, is the Step Up to Writing program. The teachers I've talked to, both friends, because I've lived in the district a while, and new teachers I've met throughout my school visits, they love it, and they just ask for more time.
Yes.
To, again, nothing you don't know, but they're just asking, can we please have more time, which is actually great. It's not a complaint.
No.
It's we just would like more time to work with our fellow teachers to sink our teeth into this program. But I've gotten great reviews so far. But some teachers have got so much going on, been so busy. I mean, on Tuesday when I toured schools, I had some class of 35 kids in a class. How do you have time for anything? I don't know. I was stressed out after 10 minutes in the class. But that's what they beg for, is that we want to sink our teeth into it. We need time to the unadulterated, whether it's a late starter or whatever it is, where they can work with each other. Again, nothing you haven't heard. But that's one thing I forgot to mention is they love it, they're excited about it, but some of them haven't even been able to sink their teeth into it because of so many other, you get busy during the day. So that's good though, very excited about it. And I've looked at it briefly in one of the classrooms, and I'm not a teacher, but it looks like it's going to benefit us greatly once it's able to be implemented, once teachers have the time to really get into it and get in the groove. I think it's going to be helpful because I'm not a teacher, but I speak as an employer in the tech field. And I cannot tell you how many people, older people, 25, 35, 45 years old, way out of school, who have very bad writing skills, who have very bad reading skills. And these are people who may have really good technical skills, but they can't write very well. They can't compose complete sentences, complete paragraphs. And this is in the business world where you have to communicate effectively to grow a company, to win a client, to not lose a client. So I am this particular thing, as not even forget my school board participation, just as an employer and a business person, I am really excited and really want to push and focus hard on this because I see the effects when it's not implemented, not Peoria, but not implemented out, in other school districts as well, and what it results. And people are playing catch up when they're 25, 35, 45 years old. And so I'm very excited that we're focusing hard because it's really missing out in the real world, as we say.
Yes, and thank you for your support and approval last year for us to bring the program in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Nope. Thank you very much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Appreciate it. All right, let's move on to our next item on the agenda, number 10, discussion and consideration of the appointment of Thomas Hancock to serve as the administrative representative on the Valley Schools Employee Benefit Trust Board for the remainder of the current term through June 30th, 2016. It's an action item, so we'll have to vote on it. So any questions, comments? I guess it'd be for Dr. Santarelli if there are any questions or comments. Mrs. Doan? Oh, Mr. John again? Let's just sit for a second and see what Mr. Hancock does. We give him a hard time, though. Great. So we need to move this to a vote. We need a motion and a second.
I motion that the governing board appoint Thomas Hancock to serve on the Valley School Employee Benefit Trust Board for the remainder of the current term through June 30th, 2016.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Jonigan and seconded by Ms. Doan. It's a voting item, please. 3-0. Move on to the next item. I believe it also has a similar name. Number 11, a discussion and consideration of the appointment of Thomas Hancock to serve as the administrative representative on the Valley Schools Workers' Compensation Pool Board for the remainder of the current term through June 30th, 2016. Again, this is an action item, so any comments or questions?
No.
Okay, we need a motion and a second to move this to a vote. Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I motion that we recommend that the governing board appoint Thomas Hancock to serve on the Valley Schools Workers' Compensation Pool Board for the remainder of the current term through June 30th, 2016.
And do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second it.
All right. Got a lot of fans over here, Mr. Hancock. Okay, please cast your votes. All right, passes unanimously. Thank you. So I've been on both of those boards, a lot of good information, it's good to work with other districts to see what they do to reduce expenses, provide better benefits. So I've learned a lot. I mean, I'm not, I don't have the street smarts that you do working in HR and whatnot, but I was very beneficial in the last year, so I was glad to be a part of that as a board representative. All right, next item on the agenda, number 12, discussion and consideration of providing voting direction on recommended changes to the Arizona School Boards Association bylaws. I would like to table this to my fellow board members, as we have two other members that would like to vote. I'm sure have questions. Also, Ms. Connect, being on the Arizona School Boards Association, president-elect, she can also help answer questions that may come up because she's knee-deep in that. So I would like to recommend that, of course, that obviously takes other action besides me to table it to the next meeting. So Ms. Pangarelli and Mrs. Connect can answer and ask questions. So any comments or questions about tabling that for next time?
No.
That's fine with me.
That's fine with you? Okay. Mr. Jonigan?
No.
You're good with that? Okay. All right, then we'd like to go ahead and move that to our next board meeting in 2 weeks, if that's okay. Thank you, Dr. Centerelli, Ms. McCarty. Okay, next item on the agenda, report and discussion on local, state, and federal legislative issues and activities. Dr. Centerelli, do you have anything for us tonight?
I do, Mr. Bullock. Members, thank you for the opportunity. Lots of things. The first one that I'd like to at least mention at the local level is we had a wonderful patron tour that Raymond S. Kellis and Sun Valley hosted a week or so ago. Very well attended. I know some of you were able to join us, and so wanted to recognize those two schools and all those that joined us. Also, November 3rd is a very important day, not just in the state, but in our country. It's Election Day, so I encourage everybody to get out there and exercise their rights and privileges as citizens of Arizona. November 16th is the date for which we will be releasing our AZ merit scores to parents. We're in the process of compiling that information, and we'll be distributing those to the parents. I will also remind the board and the community that the grade level and comparative data will not be released until after November 30th. It is embargoed until that time. You heard Ms. Woody talk about that relative to the Move On When Reading legislation, and so that will not be available till November 30th, but our student information will be released to parents on November 16th. And lastly, certainly rumors abound about a special session potentially being called by the governor. Lots of rumors, and we'll see where that goes. Certainly, we know for a fact that there have been at least 4 budget proposals put forth. The governor's put forth one that is tied very close to the State Land Trust initiative. We have the leadership in the Republican Party who have also put forth a budget proposal for education. We have our state school superintendent who has put forth a budget for schools, as well as the Democratic Party. So we have 4 budget proposals, all very interesting in light of the fact that last year we had no budget proposals until the session was called, and the governor rolled one out, and it went through very quickly. So we have 4 before the session even has hit the ground. So we'll continue to stay close to that. Rumors still continue to abound relative to the mediated lawsuit on the inflationary funding lawsuit. So we'll just stay tuned. But there's just an awful lot of buzz. Nothing confirmed, of course, but we're certainly going to keep you apprised as we hear things. So with that, Mr. Bullock, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Santarelli. You know, what's very interesting about what you said, and have my ear to the ground as well on local politics, and it's nice to see that the buzz around education throughout the year is getting attention, that I'm happy to see that there's multiple proposals. You know, obviously, a final proposal will be hammered out at the appropriate time, but I'm encouraged to see that every group is putting together a proposal to try and recognize that education is going to make our state. So let's put your proposal forward. So I'm encouraged as well.
Yeah, Mr. Bullock, absolutely. Certainly, it's good to hear, and when you talk to community members, there's certainly an awareness that there's a need. Also, just to continue to remind everyone that whatever comes forth and whenever it happens, if it does tie to the state land trust, that would require a voter-initiated referendum. So even though that may be part of a negotiated or legislated outcome, that would still require voter approval before anything were to happen. And so we'll continue to see if we can find out the particulars as they become available. And you all know that Mr. Hicks still is doing his duty on the Classroom First Governor's Task Force, and next meeting we'll have him provide an update. He's actually not here this evening. As you know, he's part of the leadership with ASBO, and they are meeting at a national meeting in Texas this evening. So we'll have him bring you an update next meeting.
And Mr. Hicks is becoming quite famous. I've talked to several of our state legislators over the past few months, and everybody knows Ken Hicks. So that's good. So we're excited about that. All right, let's move on to the next item on the agenda. Number 14 is request for agenda items for future governing board meetings. Start with Ms. Doan.
Well, I do want to suggest, and I don't know if we want to act on it tonight, but I do want to suggest a study session that will just be about the block scheduling, so we can figure out what we want to do about that to help some of those students who need a different way of handling things. I'd like to suggest that.
Yeah, no, I'd support that. As I mentioned earlier, that's we
Yes.
talked about that before you were on the board, and again, hearing it now from
I want to get it
teachers
done.
and to find out again,
Yeah.
once and for all, what is the right way to do it, and can it be changed? Can it be modified?
Right.
Is it a budget structural?
I think we
cultural
need a
thing?
study session on
Okay.
it and get it done.
Okay, I will support that. Anything else?
No.
Okay, Mr. John again? Okay, I have nothing as well this evening, thank you. Our next item on the agenda, number 15, is consideration of approval of the consent agenda. I would, if you don't mind, pull number 18C, donations report. Haven't done that in a couple months, and I think it's due, because we have some really nice donations. Again, even $1 is a great donation, but anyway, but we'll need, once that's pulled, then we'll need a motion and a second, unless any other items you'd like to pull from the consent agenda. Okay. So as soon as that's rewritten, we'll go ahead and move. And, okay, good. Is that ready? It's ready, okay. All right, so we need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as is without 18C, the donations report.
I will move that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of 18C.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Ms. Doan and seconded by Mr. Jonigan to approve the consent agenda as is without the donations report. All right, thank you, board members. Let's move on to the next item. Donation report, if you don't mind pulling that up, I'd appreciate it. And just, again, I say this, and I honestly mean it, $1 helps us, $10 helps us. A few that I'd like to bring up is third one down, 4,500 Salt River Project Corporation contributions to Centennial High School for computers for their physics and science labs. And then we have a $2,800 one from Gen Youth Foundation to Dairy Council of Arizona for Cheyenne Elementary School, Fuel Up to Play 60 program, which is great to encourage exercise as well and be active, which we all love. And another one is, just because it's making me hungry.
I know.
Is 2,000 coupons for free sandwiches from Troy Sievers, is a franchise owner for Chick-fil-A, the one down in Thunderbird. I believe, is that the one about to open up, correct? It is open, okay. I apologize. Well, dinner is served. All right, so for $6,940, that, my friends, is a lot of chicken. So we thank you. That's district-wide. Do we have, is that being distributed for any award? Is it just being as just kind of first come, first serve?
Mr. Bullock, they have been distributed to each school
Okay. And each school
for them
distributes
to
as
determine how
necessary.
to
Great.
distribute.
Well, we thank Mr. Sievers for that. And again, thank you, everybody else. There's so many, we have 2 full pages of donations. That's wonderful. So thank you again. Every little bit helps, as we all know. Okay, move on to the next item on the agenda. Oops. Need to approve that, don't we? I apologize. Okay, back to the donations report. I will move, since I pulled it out, I move that we I move that we approve the donations report number 26C, donations report. Do I have a second?
Second it.
You weren't fast enough.
Aye.
You could have
Ladies
thirded it.
first.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved by myself and seconded by Ms. Doan to approve the donations report as stated. This would be a perfect time for the iron pans to be playing while we have this issue. All right, there we go. Thank you very much. Did it pop up on everyone's screen? No problem. We'll just do a voice vote to confirm. Mr. Johnigan?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, 3-0. Thank you. Passes unanimously. Move on to the next item on the agenda, number 28, District Enrollment Report for September 2015. If you could pull that real quick, we'll do a quick scroll through. And again, all these reports are available on the district website and the board packet, so we encourage you, if you have an interest, you want to see how your local school has gone up, down, or stayed the same in enrollment, it's available in brilliant black and white. That's good. That's good enough. Thank you very much. Let's go to number 29, the district budget report for the month of September 2015. Again, if you have an interest in where money is spent and how it's spent and our balances, this district report is good. It's a quick snapshot of where we stand. So we did. I clicked next item and it jumped right over it. Interesting. All right, let's go back to that. Sorry about that. Thank you, Ms. McCarty. It's all right. Nothing a mouse click can't fix. All right, number 27, if we can go back to that and pop that open real quick, please. The Budget, Facilities, Planning, Construction Report. And this is also another excellent report to see where money is being spent at your local school for safety, for AC, for fencing, technology, add-ons, repairs.
There we go.
Correct. Hmm? New roofs. That's good, especially with all the rain we've had recently. That's good. Thank you very much. And again, that's all available on the website. We encourage you to look at it in PDF format, easy to view. All right, the district enrollment report, we've already gone through number 28. I'll move on to number 29, district budget report, which we're about to pull up. Again, that's just to let that one more time there. And again, it's a great snapshot of where the district is sitting right now from a budget point of view, year over year. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is report on upcoming meetings and events. Take a quick gander at that. Again, 2 times in the last couple minutes we could have had that on hold music. I'm just saying.
I'm agreeing.
Good. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Do we have an agent? Dr. Santarelli is our music agent. All right, coming up we have, of course, Veterans Day holiday. We always appreciate those in uniform for protecting our country. My Life Days, do you want to mention anything about that, Dr. Santarelli?
Mr. Bullock, briefly, certainly one of the hallmark events for our school district in which we have our 8th grade students actually present on our high school campuses, have a heavy emphasis on the connection between their academic path and their career path, and very much tied to our TLC as well as our programming, helping students be successful after they leave us. So it's a great day. We invite anybody to join us.
Great. And that is open to the public, I assume, by that comment?
Through coordination through the schools or district office, yes.
Contact your local school. Okay, thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is the draft agenda for the next board meeting, which is November 12th, 2015. Take a quick scroll through that if you don't mind.
Mr. Bullock, I will suggest that there will be an executive session at 4 o'clock on that day.
Great, we will plan appropriately. Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda, board member opportunity to readdress agenda items. Ms. Doan, any readdress? Mr. John again? No. I would like one thing because I can't believe I missed it. Mr. Panzer, I'm gonna highlight you and spotlight you real quick because you deserve it. In my school tours this past week, we met Mr. Panzer at one of the schools, and he had his group of arts teachers, visual arts teachers. They were walking around, and we happened to be walking into one door, and he was coming out with a group of teachers, and they literally had smiles up to their ears, and I thought maybe you said a funny joke, and you may have, but they were really excited for the fact that you were using some of the Kennedy Center grant money to allow those teachers to leave their school and to go to other schools and meet with their cohorts in other schools to see how arts education, in this case visual arts, was being taught at different schools. And I got a chance to, for a few minutes, to talk to those teachers, and they were like, this is magic. This is exactly what we want to happen. So kudos to you, sir, for taking a very small amount of money, $10,000, although we appreciate every dollar, as we say. That's very small with a district this large, but you're turning it into something that you're training the trainer, giving them opportunities to go out and see what other teachers are doing, and all of them, except for maybe one, said, I found something that someone else was doing, and I can't wait to bring it back to my class. And the one who didn't, I just think she was shy, so she didn't, when I kind of like started asking her questions, she's like, whoa, who are you? And so, which is okay. But all of them had something great to say about it, and they just felt special because you recognized that it's worthwhile to let them go collaborate. And you brought it to fruition. And, we try and do that with all our teachers. I know it's a budget issue and time issue, but thank you for doing that. And after you left, we talked to some of the other teachers who just said, that is awesome. I mean, you got a little round of applause from other teachers who saw you walking through there with what you were doing. So thank you again for taking that small grant money and maximizing it, because I know with the excitement that they had and the little tidbits they were able to pick up from other teachers, not only are their classes going to be better, but they're also going to pass those little bits of information on to other teachers, and I have to imagine it's going to have a multiplicative effect that will permeate the whole district to some extent on that very, very small amount of money. So thank you. I know you have a staff that helps you. You're always the one to deflect, but thank you for spearheading. How about that? You have a great team that you work with, but you spearheaded that, and it was you got applause after you had already walked out to the parking lot from other teachers and administrators. So thank you so much. It was awesome. All right, next item on the agenda, sad part of the night, time to go to Chick-fil-A. Number 33, consideration of adjournment. We need a motion and a second to move this to adjournment to vote.
I'll motion that we move to adjournment.
I will second it.
All right, let's vote and see if we go. All right, dinner is served. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here tonight. Drive safe, and we'll see you next time.